Welcome to our session on navigating the Blackboard Gradebook. Today we're going to explore Gradebook views, settings, and look at creating calculated columns. So let's get started by taking a look at the basic principles of creating assessments. Gradebook organisation is critical to monitoring and tracking students' progress. The filtering process will allow instructors to focus on a specific group of students. Filtering the gradebook is an excellent method in reviewing a gradable item in a category or seeing a subset of students. For example, if there are multiple instructors in charge of grading a specific group of learners, they can filter the gradebook for their subset of students, giving them the option to focus in on just their students' grades. The gradebook can be accessed in two ways, either through the base navigation or directly through the course. From base navigation, you have immediate access to all your course's gradable events, course average if the overall grade is set up, and course analytics on the global grades page. You can quickly determine items to be graded in all of the courses for which you're enrolled without entering those individual courses themselves. Instructors also have the option of entering the gradebook within a course by accessing Gradebook from the navigation bar. There are 4 default gradebook views to aid in the proper setup of gradebook and evaluating students. System administrators and instructors now have the flexibility to control the availability of a 5th tab for the Mastery tab in the gradebook. This configuration lets institutions align the use of the Mastery tab with their curriculum approach, whilst also giving instructors control over when and how it's visible to students. Let's take a look at gradebook views. To help instructors stay on top of their grading workload, we added an indicator to the Gradebook tab to let them know when there are new submissions to grade. The indicator displays the number that needs grading. If the count goes higher than 99, it simply stays as 99 plus. The Gradebook Overview tab is there to assist instructors in their grading efficiency. The tab contains 2 sections, Needs Grading and Needs Posting. The Needs Grading section is a really useful tool for prioritising your grading tasks. It allows you to see all items ready for grading, and it counts the total number of outstanding grades in your course. The Needs Posting section increases the accessibility of assessments that have been graded but need posting. For an item, select Post Now to its grade. If there are more than 5 items that need posting, you can use the buttons at the bottom of the section to navigate through the pending tasks. Let's take a look at the Gradable Items tab. This view allows you to see the coursework, number of submissions, number of missing assignments, the due date, and the number of items to grade. This view allows the instructor to check their grading progress by viewing how many submissions need to be graded and the ones that need to be posted. This view also allows the instructor to arrange the items in their gradebook. The Move icon in the row allows you to rearrange the gradebook to align with your course policies. The Order in List view will be the order of the grid view of the gradebook. The student's view of the gradebook is the same as the order of the instructors. Instructors can change the order of the items in their gradebook by moving items to match the order on the course content page or the order they want their students to complete the work. In the Gradebook List view, press the Move icon in the row of the item they want to move. Drag the item to the new location and release. The order they choose also appears in Grid View and on students' grade pages. Now for the Grades tab. Let's walk through this image together. So if we look at A, the grid view of the gradebook provides a view of columns and rows identifying students and gradable items. Instructors can grade in this view by selecting the cell of the item to grade. This view does allow the instructor to view the user's profile picture and select the profile to display the course role and the student's ID. Now we'll move to B. This is where you can apply filters to narrow the information in the grid view. For example, you can display 2 tests and compare students' performance. You can filter the information by students, groups, markable items, assessment types and categories. The view after you apply filters is temporary, and you can also clear these filters. C. Here's where you can sort by any column by selecting the up and down icon. Any sorting applied yields a temporary change to the sort order of all columns in the Gradebook grid view. If you look at D, when you are hovering over a truncated student name, the full name displays in a tooltip. Really handy if you just want to check the name of the student. E. Select an item to display its menu. There you can choose to edit it, access the question analysis data, download results or submissions, statistics, or even delete the item. F is where you will select a grade cell to add a grade override. Selecting a cell will also display a menu. Depending on the activity status, you can view the submission, post a grade, and add or edit exemptions or exceptions. G is where student IDs display beneath student names to aid in distinguishing between students with similar names. In Grid View, you can search the gradebook for students, columns, or categories. You can sort columns in ascending or descending order. A purple highlight in the column header helps you to identify where the sorting is applied. You can type the student's name or student ID. Matching names appear below the search box. Select a student to filter your gradebook view and see their attempts and grades. This allows you to display a student's grades for items during a meeting with a student, as it only displays that student's row in the gradebook. It also allows you to focus on a specific category or column to view in the gradebook. To return to the full gradebook, simply click on the X in the search box. Let's check out the Student tab. The Students view shows the students' IDs, usernames, last access, and if set up, the overall grade. From the ellipsis, an instructor can review any accommodations for this student and also send a message. If the student has any accommodations, they'll have a small purple flag above their name. Here's an example of how you can view a specific student. So the course grade page contains the item name, the due date, submissions, it will show grades, and it will also give an icon if feedback has been provided. If a student is needing to be exempted from an assignment, an instructor can also do this from the 3 ellipses. From viewing that specific student, if progress tracking is turned on in a course, an instructor can also see a student's specific progress within that course. It can be filtered to all course items or just those currently visible to students. Blackboard assists instructors in monitoring and retaining students by providing an activity log for an individual student. Student activity helps to inform decisions in providing academic support, untangling disputes, and really does aid in troubleshooting. You can analyse the course participation to look at students who are potentially at risk. This log will also assist instructors in viewing student participation to support financial aid decisions. The student activity log can be downloaded as a CSV file. All filters applied to the log also apply to the CSV file. Only the first 100 events are downloaded. So here's an example of one of those student activity reports where you can see the student's activity per week in hours in the course, as well as any associated grades. Let's take a look at gradebook settings. Grade schemas permit instructors to define a grade range percentage that is mapped to a grade value. The schema computes the score given to a student and the total points possible to derive a percentage, which then aligns to the grade value. Up to 100 grading schemas per course can be delineated. Items copied from other courses will keep their grading schema. When copying any configured schemas, copy even if not aligned to gradable items. The current grading schema, titled Letters, can be renamed to better identify how grades are represented. The instructor can also edit, delete, or add grade ranges. The grade value can contain letters, symbols, or numbers to better characterise how grade items are being assessed. At least 2 grade ranges must be defined. Additionally, the grade range percentage can contain integers and decimals. When updating or adding grade range percentages, the table will automatically adjust so there is no numerical gap. The grading schema can be updated even after grades have been given to students. A revised schema confirmation screen will appear, noting that students' grades will change based on the edits that were made. If you prefer a schema with a plus minus, pass fail, complete incomplete, you may modify the schema to meet your course grading requirements. You can add new schemas and/or delete them. Categories are predefined classification of gradable items within your gradebook. Each time you create a graded item in your course, you have the option to change the grade category so the item is grouped into one of the gradebook categories. You will use these categories when creating calculations using formulas, so it's important to have categories that are meaningful to your teaching situation. Categories can also be used to filter the gradebook to view only gradable items in a specific category, such as participation or lab assignments. The gradebook supports the creation of calculated columns and an overall course grade. The gradebook functionality also supports total and weighted calculated columns. These types of calculations are helpful for specific events or periods, such as midterms or finals. Total calculated columns can be point-based or weighted calculations. Like setting up the overall grade, instructors may link or unlink items in a category in the calculation. They may also choose to exclude categories from the calculation. For an included category, instructors may edit the calculation rule. The calculation rule allows instructors to drop scores or to include only the lowest or highest score in the category. Instructors may wish to define a total calculated column for their own use. In this case, they can choose to hide this from students. If desired, instructors can include a total calculated column in the overall grade calculation. As you build your course, you may have the need to create additional items. An item is unattached to a Blackboard activity and can be used to store points unrelated to online work. For example, if students receive credit for attending a job fair, you can still grade that item in the gradebook by creating a manual item. Manually added items don't appear on the course content page. The items do appear on students' global and course grade pages. You can't add files, rubrics, goals, or groups to manually added items. If you need these items, as well as an area for instructions, you may consider using an offline assignment instead. The overall grade is a running tally of a student's grade and is shared with your institution as your student's grade for your course. It's calculated based on how you decide to set it up. As the instructor, you can decide on how any item affects the overall grade for the course, how the gradebook functions for calculating grades, and which items in the gradebook display to students and count towards it. You can set it up when you first begin working in your course, or even after you're finished building it. When you set it up depends on how you plan to calculate it. The gradebook can be calculated based on category weights or by item weights. If you plan to weight the overall grade by item, then you'll need to wait until the course is completely built so you can weight all items accordingly. You have the option to create inline calculations to determine grades when using this method. If you plan to weight it by category, then early on you can create the categories and then set up the overall grade. Calculating course grades can vary depending on instructor practice. To offer greater flexibility in gradebook calculations, instructors can now opt to use the base calculation on points earned out of total graded points option for any gradebook calculation, regardless of whether it contains operators with functions and variables. If you don't plan on using an overall grade for your course, you can remove this prompt by selecting Hide this message. You may still configure the overall grade at a later time by going back to the gradebook settings. Instructors can create and manage grade notations to override a student's overall grade with notations outside of the normal grade schema. You can add overall grade notations such as I for incomplete or W for course withdrawals. Create a grade notation in the gradebook settings panel. To apply a grade notation, go back to the gradebook in grid view and select within a student's overall grade cell. In the menu, choose the notation. The cell will turn grey to indicate that you overrode the overall grade. In addition, automatic zeros may be set as default for the entire course for items that are unsubmitted or past due, meaning they will be automatically marked as 0. Students can still submit work after an automatic 0 is assigned, and instructors can grade as normal if allowed. After you enable this setting, you don't have to go through your gradebook to manually assign zeros. The automatic zero setting doesn't apply when you collect submissions offline. Automatic zeros are not assigned to withdrawn students. To help instructors find and grade late assessment submissions, they are indicated as needs grading on the grades and gradable items gradebook pages. To apply automatic zeros in the gradebook, select the settings icon to access the gradebook settings panel. Select the Assign Automatic Zeros for Past Due Work checkbox. This not only draws a student's attention to past due items, but it also may more accurately represent a student's progress in the course. As best practice, you may want to include your late work policy within your syllabus. And finally, a reminder to join the incredibly vibrant anthology community. This is a fabulous space where you can connect with other anthology and Blackboard super users, ask questions, share practice. It really is the place to be if you are focusing on modernisation or any form of improvement to your Blackboard practice. Also, a reminder that you can catch these sessions live over the coming weeks and find many more resources on the links shared on the screen now. Thank you ever so much for joining me today, and I hope you enjoy exploring Gradebook.